Myself is Dr. Pinkesh Suttaria, working as an assistant professor at Department of Chemistry, Bhavans College, Dakor. So today we are going to learn a new topic under the IR spectroscopy unit. Now we have started the third unit, that is our IR spectroscopy, in which we have completed 2 lectures. Okay, in today's lecture we will see about the IR spectrometer. Okay, so this is the instrument part of the IR spectrometer. As we can see in any spectroscopy or in any spectrometer, we have two important terms. First one, that is the source, second one, that is the detector, and third one, that is the sampling technique. Okay, so in IR spectrometer we will study about these three important terms, that is source, detector and sample. Okay, now let us understand by its graphical representation. So in IR spectrometer, okay, first of all let us write down the word, that is IR spectrometer. Okay, here we are having a source. In source we have taken as a Nernst Glower. Okay, now this Nernst Glower can be utilized as a that is the rod that is electrically heated up to the 1500 degrees Celsius. Now this Nernst Glower can be made up by the three important rare earth metal, that is zirconium, second one that is deuterium, and last one that is erbium. Okay, now this Nernst Glower can be made up with these three metal, that is rare earth metal. When we are heating this rod up to the 1500 degrees Celsius, it can generate a IR radiation. Now this source can be false by in the monochromator. Okay, now this monochromator, as we have seen in the UV spectrometer, the role of monochromator, that is conversion of 3-dimensional light into the 1-dimensional light. Then after it will falls onto the two important chamber, that is sampling technique. Here we are having sample and this is having a reference. Okay, now in IR spectrometer we are not having any different type of what we can say sample compartment or what we can say the reference compartment. Both the compartment are along together. So we can say that this is having a sample compartment. So here in IR spectrometer we can simply write down the sample compartment, okay, or we can say a sample. Okay, later on I will explain how we can utilize different type of sample and how we can utilize sample plus reference. Now after the completion of monochromator, the light falls onto the sample, then after it will undergoes a detector. Okay, now in IR spectrometer we are having thermopile. Okay, now this thermopile, that is known as a detector. Then after it will falls onto the recorder. Recorder means a computer software, and the last one we are having a graph. Okay, so now in IR spectrometer what will happen over here? We are having a percentage of transmission and here we are having a wavelength. Okay, so now this wavelength IR spectrometer, the graph of IR spectrometer, it is quite reverse from the UV spectrometer. So the IR spectrometer, it is like this. Okay, so now this is comes under the 667 up to the 4000 centimeter onwards. Okay, so now what is thermopile? So let us understand the detector, that is known as thermopile. When two ends of the metal wire are attached with the two ends of another metal wire, then a difference in temperature between the two ends causes a current flow in the wire. The intensity of radiation falling on the thermopile produce a current. It means, suppose if we are having a metal wire like this, okay, when we are connecting with this to the current, what will happen over here? So here when these two ends of metal wire attach with the two ends of another metal wire, okay, now these two ends attach with the another two metal metal wire. So at that time what will happen? The temperature difference between the two ends causes a current. So now this is the difference between the thermopile. Now this is a thermopile that can generate a current. Okay, so this is known as detector in a IR spectrometer. Okay. Now one of the most important thing in IR spectrometer, that is a sampling. Now in a UV spectrometer we are having a two compartment in which we are taking a sample and second one we are taking as a reference. But in IR spectrometer we are only having a sample compartment. So in, as I have told you further, that in any spectrometer or in any spectroscopy we are having a reference material. So what we are taking as a IR sample, or what when we are taking as a IR sample, we have to take a sampling with respect to the reference material. So in reference material we are having a three types of sampling technique. First one, that is for the solid, second one that is for the liquid, and third one that is for the gaseous sample. Suppose if we are having solid sample, what we have to take, liquid sample and gaseous sample. One by one I will explain you how we can do a sampling in IR spectrometer. Suppose if our sample is solid, okay, so if our sample is solid, what we have to take, we have to make a proportion of 1:10 milligram of sample is to alkali halide. Okay. Now what is alkali halide? Now as we know that alkali halide, that is alkali metal, lithium, Na, K, Rb, Cs and Fr. Okay, halogen, that is F, Cl, Br, I, At. Now with the combination of these alkali halide we can take as a proportion of 10 milligram as compared to the sample. Why we are taking alkali halide? Because alkali halide will not interfere in any phase of 667 up to the 4000 centimeter inverse, that is our IR region. Okay, so in IR region this alkali halide will not give any intense peak. So that is why we are taking as a alkali halide as a reference material. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to make a pellet. Okay, this is known as pellet. So in IR spectrometer we are having this type of pellet machine, okay, in which we are having a hole. In this hole we have to make a powder. That powder consists of 1 milligram of our sample and 10 milligram of alkali halide. Most probably what we are using in alkali halide, we are using as a KBr, okay, potassium bromide. You can also use NaCl, you can also use Ki also, but in most of the instrument nowadays KBr that is generally used. Now how we can make a sample? Suppose if I want to take a graph of benzoic acid, okay, so what I have to take, 1 milligram of benzoic acid and 10 milligram of KBr. In mortar pestle I have to take 1 milligram of benzoic acid and 10 milligram of KBr. Then I have to prepare a powder. Now this powder can be utilized as our sample plus reference. Okay, so now this is known as sample plus reference. Before that we have to take a graph of simply a KBr. Okay, so first of all what we have to do, we have to take a graph of KBr, then after sample plus reference. In sample we are having benzoic acid and reference we are having KBr. So what will happen over here, KBr and KBr will be overlapped. So we can get a pure graph of benzoic acid in the region of 667 up to the 4000 centimeter inverse. Okay, so that is our graphical representation how we can use as a solid sample. Okay, so now let us I will draw again a schematic diagram of IR spectrometer. So suppose in first one we are having a source, then after we are having a monochromator, okay, then after we are having a monochromator, then after we are having as a sample compartment, then after we are having a detector, okay, now then after we are having a recorder, okay, and last one we can get a graph in which we are having percentage of transmission as well as a wavelength. Okay, so this wavelength and percentage of transmission. Now this sample compartment, what we have to do, we have to first take a graph of KBR, then after we have to change that sample compartment and we have to change this palette. Okay, in first we have to take a graph of KBR, then after in second step what we have to take KBR plus benzoic acid. Okay, so then and then we are having a pure benzoic acid graph at the end. Okay, so this is the way how we can measure a solid sample. Now what will happen if our sample is liquid? So for the liquid sample, what we have to take in liquid sample, okay, put a heading 1 over here, that is liquid sample. How we can take a IR spectra of liquid sample. So for the liquid sample, what we have to take? For the liquid sample, we have to take a 2 pellet of alkali halide. Generally, what we are using NaCl. Okay, we are taking 2 NaCl pellet. Then after, in between those 2 pellet, we have to put 1 or 2 drop of liquid sample. Then with the combination of these two, okay, with the combination of these two, we have to place this pellet into our sample compartment. Then after we have to take a graph of liquid sample. Okay, suppose here what we have to take, we have to put a pellet, okay, 2 pellet. In those 2 pellet we have to put 1 drop. In these 2 drop we have to take a liquid sample, whatever the sample. Suppose if I want to take a graph of aniline. Now aniline, that is a liquid sample. So what I have to take? I have to take a 2 NaCl pellet. In those 2 NaCl pellet I have to just put 1 drop of aniline. Then with the combination of these 2 pellet I have to take a graph of IR spectra of aniline. So by this way we can utilize a liquid sample. Suppose if we are having a gaseous sample, okay, this is for the liquid sample. If we are having gaseous sample, so at that time what we have to take? We have to change the compartment. Okay, we have to change this compartment. In place of this compartment, what we have to take? We have to place, or we have to done a coating of glass. Okay, suppose if you are imagining, like suppose we are having a square glass sample compartment. Of this square glass compartment we have to put a layer. Okay, we have to just put a layer of alkali halide, or we can say we have to just put a coating of NaCl or KBr or whatever alkali halide you are having. We have to just put a layer of alkali halide onto the glass surface. Then after we have to just inject this gaseous sample into this compartment, and then after we can take a gaseous sample analysis by IR spectra. Okay, so this is the main 3 important term of a solid sample, liquid sample as well as the gaseous sample. Okay, so now this is our IR spectrometer, and how we can do IR spectra by using a solid sample, liquid sample and gaseous sample. Okay, so in nowadays what will happen, the Bruker company, so okay, so it is the Bruker company who are making this FTIR, okay, instrument. Now in Bruker company, whatever in earlier sample what we have to do, we can just put a KBR sample as well as the KBR plus. First we have to take KBR spectra, then after we have to take KBR plus sample. Okay, nowadays modern instrument what will have what they are doing, they are having a inbuilt spectra in computer of KBR. We just have to run a spectra of only sample. Okay, in modern instrument they are having this type of facility. So this is the way how we can utilize our solid sample, gaseous sample as well as the liquid sample for the IR spectra. Okay, so this is the instrument part of IR spectrometer. Okay, now before going for the example, now let us understand some of the rules and regulation for the example, and some of the characteristics absorption frequency of functional group. Okay, so in examination they will give you a data sheet in which we are having different types of functional group respect to their frequency. So now let us make a one table for the wavelength, or what we can say the functional group wavelength. Okay, so I am writing down over here functional group, okay, wavelength. Now this will be useful for the exam point of view as well as the example point of view, functional group wavelengths. So now let us understand the functional group as well as the frequency. Okay, so we are writing various functional group with respect to the its wavelength. So let us start with our stretching. Okay, so here we are having a CH stretching. Okay, suppose CH stretching for the alkanes, simple alkanes molecules. If suppose we are having, the range of wavelength will be the 2960 up to the 2850 centimeter inverse. Okay, suppose if you are writing a CH stretching for the alkenes, okay, that is for the alkene C double bond C. So we are having a range between 3100 up to 3010. Then after we are having alkynes, okay, alkynes, that is C triple bond C, that is nearly about 3300 centimeter inverse. Okay, then after we are having CH stretching for the aromatic. Okay, if suppose if our compound is aromatic, CH stretching for the aromatic compound, so that will be under 3150 up to 3020 centimeter inverse. Then after we are having aldehyde group. Okay, so aldehyde group we are having 2820, that is 2775 2720. Okay, so this is for the CH stretching. So these all come under the CH stretching. So now this aldehyde group, it is very specific. In explanation of earlier I have told you that in aldehyde we are having 1400 centimeter inverse, that is our X. Okay, for the coupling of the fundamental vibration with the fundamental vibration, it will come under the 2820. So now this is known as overtone. Okay, I have explained you these two terminology. First of all, that is overtone. What is overtone? When fundamental vibration couple with the fundamental vibration, then it is known as overtone. What is Fermi resonance? When fundamental vibration couple with the overtone, then it is known as a Fermi resonance. So now let us understand one more example of the frequency. So that is for the aldehyde group. Now let us understand one more for the aldehyde, another example, that is a C triple bond C. Okay, that is C double bond C stretching. That is, earlier we have seen CH stretching. Now this is the difference between the CH and C double bond C. Now this C double bond C stretching under the alkene group. Okay, now these alkene group that under come with the 1675 up to the 1600 centimeter inverse. Okay, for the C triple bond C stretching, okay, that is for the alkyne group. Now this alkyne group that under comes at the 2260, okay, 2260 up to the 2100 centimeter inverse. Okay, now one of the most important peak, that is for the ketonic peak, okay, or carbonyl peak you can call. Now this ketonic peak that under comes as the 1725 up to the 1705 centimeter inverse. Okay, now this carbonyl peak can be different for the different functional group. Suppose if we are having C double bond O, that is for the ketonic group. Now this ketonic group can be undercome at the aldehyde also, that is for the acid also, that is for the amide also, that is also for the acid chloride. Okay, for this I will explain you later part of my lecture that whatever the functional group that is attached with the carbonyl, that is difference between the electron donating group and withdrawing group. Now this carbonyl group that undercome with the 1690 up to the 1800, okay, with the electron donating and withdrawing group, that will increase or decrease with respect to the ketonic group. So that is for the ketonic group. Now let us understand one more example for the one more frequency, that is for the OH. Okay, now this OH for the alcohol or phenol, okay, alcohol or phenolic compound. Now that undercomes at the 3650 up to 3580 centimeter inverse. Okay, now in alcohol or phenol we will get the broad peak. Okay, it is not a sharp peak, it is a broad peak. So whenever we are having alcohol or phenol at the 3650 up to the 3580, we will get the broad peak. Now when we are having a NH, okay, and when we are having a primary amine, okay, NH2, that means a primary amine, so we will get a 2 band nearly about 3500 centimeter inverse. Now amine will give a sharp peak, okay, as compared to the OH it will give a sharp peak. Now these primary amine will give a 2 peak in the IR spectra region. Now when we are having a secondary amine, the secondary amine will give only 1 peak, okay, under the nearly about the 3500 centimeter inverse. So that is the difference between the primary amine and secondary amine. Primary amine will give the 2 peak and secondary amine will give the 1 peak. Now let us take one more example of nitro group. Okay, nitro group will give a 2 peak range between the 1500 up to the 1600 centimeter inverse. Then after we are having a cyanide group, that is a CN group. Now this CN group will give the peak nearly about 2200 up to the 2300 centimeter inverse. Similarly, when we are having a alkyne, it will also give the peak of 2200 up to the 2300 centimeter inverse. Okay, so I request all the students should write down this frequency range. In examination they will give the data sheet, but you have to understand whatever the region in between that, the 667 up to the 4000 centimeter inverse, the general there is only a 15 to 16 group that you have to remember. Okay, so I will draw a one diagram how you can memorize this by the looking at this diagram, that is up to the 667 to the 4000 centimeter inverse. Okay, so that is our region. Now in this region we are having 600 centimeter inverse up to the 1200 centimeter inverse. Now this is known as fingerprint region. Okay, what is fingerprint region? As we know that any human being there is no identical fingerprint. So similar way, when we are having a two different function group, any two function group will not have the similar type of frequency. So in this fingerprint region we are having C single bond C, C single bond N and C single bond sulfur, or what we can have a C single bond X. Okay, so halogen, nitrogen, sulfur or halogen, that undercomes the 660 centimeter inverse up to the 1200 centimeter inverse. Now from the 1600, okay, from the 1600 up to the 1800, that is 1800, we are having C double bond C, C double bond O and C double bond N. So that is under with the 1600 up to the 1800 degrees Celsius, 1800 centimeter inverse. So now when we are having 2000 centimeter inverse up to the 2500 centimeter inverse, where we are having C double bond C triple bond C and C triple bond N. Now up to the 3000 centimeter inverse. Okay, now this is known as 3000 centimeter inverse up to the 4000 centimeter inverse, we are having NH, OH and CH. So by this way you can memorize this 12 function group by looking at this chart. Okay, thank you for watching it. Okay, so now in the end you can write down this diagram for wavelength. Here we are having a wavelength that is in a centimeter inverse. So these are the various functional group. So for the exam point of view, or what we are having, now this frequency can be up and down. So I will give you factors that is affecting for the IR spectra, that we will discuss in our next lecture. Okay, so thank you for watching it.